got it going. With the spin of the wheel, we'll uncover our fate and stream it to you on one take. We tend to be loud and we fight quite a bit, but it's an unscripted show, so you get what you get. If we stopped to right now and we just walked away, we'd be back here next week, cause we just can't wait to play.
Are you the Ricola guy?
No.
Ricola!
I am Tarzan, Lord of the Apes. This
Well-
week on ARG Presents.
You got the 8 part right.
I'm your good buddy, your good pal Amigo Aaron, joined by an oaf, not an ape, named Brent. And this week, I'm super excited about this one, Brent.
No, you're not.
I am.
Oh, okay, you are.
Because we spun the wheel, we made the deal last week, and as demanded by Pajaco, we will be playing 8-bit Tarzan games.
Yeah.
Tarzan games.
This is as close to just pick the game you want us to play as I think we've ever gotten.
Yeah. Okay, you can really hone in. I want you to play like 1979 8-bit Atari 2600 games where you fight a dragon. It's like
where you can pilot a tank or a plane.
Yeah,
It's like,
no kidding. Now, Brent, we made a gentleman's agreement. Now, granted, I'm always a gentleman, but Brent's a sort of an underhanded scoundrel.
it's true.
But we made a gentleman's agreement this week to not play any games that were derivative of Jungle Hunt / Jungle King.
Correct.
And we
That's
did
too
that.
easy.
Yeah, because it appeared on every machine,
Yeah.
both in actual license form and unlicensed baloney format. So, but I will say, just for the record, I love Jungle Hunt / Jungle King, and I think
Yeah.
you do too.
Oh, yeah, it's a
Why
great
has there
game.
never been a sequel to that?
Lawsuits.
But I mean, they got around it with the pith helmet guy.
With, what was his name? Pete? Was
Does he
it
have a
Pete?
name?
I think he has a name.
I love that game, but I thought to myself, this is a nice challenge because I was sitting around trying to ponder what other Tarzan-like games are there, for the old systems. And so I got a master class this week in these old school like games that had the fictional famous book characters, Tarzan being right up there.
Yeah, can you think of any other fictional literature characters that were in video games?
Yeah.
Like Jungle Book comes to mind for
Well,
me.
Conan comes to mind. Yeah. What did you say? Jungle Book?
Jungle Book. The
Yeah, it's
characters
funny.
of
I
the
didn't
Jungle
even think
Book.
about using that as the Tarzan game. That would have worked pretty well. Let me think here. Big time. I mean, like, what about the Tintin? Papa wasn't a literary figure, was he? I
And
love
then-
this romance novel that had Popeye.
And then Papa came to the boat and said,
This is an interesting thing to ponder. You got to go back through history. Okay, for example, Sherlock Holmes.
Dracula.
Yes, Dracula. That's another great one.
Jekyll and Hyde.
Yes. Is there? Well, yeah, there is a game based.
There is a game.
An unfortunate game, that's for sure. What about was King Kong based on a book?
I don't know, Aaron. Was it?
I don't know. Let's pretend it was and add that to the list.
Now, if you want to make it really difficult,
I don't.
a game based off a literature figure that wasn't made into a Hollywood movie.
Oh man, that's a tough one. By the way, they're going nuts in the chat on that. I mentioned Frankenstein. This is all happy coding. Frankenstein, The Hobbit. Yes. So a video game that did not become a film.
Right, a literature-based character that was made into a video game, but not a Hollywood movie. I'll accept TV specials.
I was thinking like, think about it. I mean, everything from The Wizard of Oz to Harry Potter, they've all been made films.
Yeah. Peter Pan.
Gosh, I don't think I can think of one.
Alice in Wonderland, yep. But
that was several times has been made a movie.
Movie-ified.
And on all ranges of acceptance for audiences.
That's right.
That would range from G all the way to triple X. So I would say yes. Now, how many of these were popular video games?
Oh. Well, here's the thing. I think for a lot of these, unless you're talking about your Draculas, your Jekyll and Hyde, a lot of them were basically kid games. Like I would call the Jungle Book. I would really even say a lot of.
I don't know about that. I don't agree with that because there were plenty of adult games. I mean, like Sherlock Holmes and King Kong. Those are for kids. You know, none of that stuff. In fact, most of them are for adults.
I think that is definitely something we could debate.
Who could forget the Oliver Twist platformer? I believe it's on the Spectrum. There's got to be one, right?
Huck Finn.
I wonder, has Huck Finn and Tom Sawyer had a video game?
I'm sure Huck Finn has.
Let's ponder this for a minute. I don't think they have. I think you may have answered your own question. That's amazing to me because I don't remember one. I'm trying to think of other because if we're talking about famous literary figures, you know, I mean that's a tough one. But
the Adventures of Tom Sawyer video game.
Oh, you're kidding me! You found one.
Yeah.
What year?
And
80, for what?
89 for the NES.
Really? It's got to be bad.
We never said good. Good was never part of the qualification.
Sataro says, well, there's a Huckleberry Hound game. That fits none of the criteria, Sataro. Well done. And by the way, I played that game on Amigos. It's no good. It is no good.
We also have The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, the game for the Game Boy Color.
There you go. You know, just to get in a little bit of Tarzan before you get into the Tarzan, it's amazing how many times. So, like, when you think it's funny when you see characters that were in vogue at some point, but they fall out of vogue. You know, and I mentioned Popeye.
Sure.
Like, it's funny, Popeye. You don't hear about Popeye anymore, but when I was a kid, he was a big deal.
Sure.
You know, but sure enough, there's still Popeye spinach around, so he's still marketable enough to be over with a certain crowd. I guess the same crowd wants to buy canned spinach. But I couldn't believe the amount of Tarzan games that were. Now, granted, some of these were released for different systems, but just games named Tarzan that are pretty much unrelated.
Yeah.
You've got a BBC Micro, Coleco, ZX, Counter 64, the Amstrad. The BBC Micro had the Legends of Tarzan and Tarzan.
And Tarzan Boy.
And then you've got the various games, like here, my personal favorite, Mr. and Mrs. Tarzan. Now, I don't know what that's all about, but I like to see it. You got Tarzan Unleashed. And in this one, I was going to ask you about the 2020 release of Tarzan VR. If you've ever wanted to get motion sick, something tells me Tarzan VR would be the game for you.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You ever
Obviously,
played that
no,
one?
I have not.
We had a pretty simple task. I mean, it ended up being pretty simple because people sent us all sorts of suggestions this week and ideas and places you could get some ideas. And so we ended up picking a couple old school 8-bitters.
As we were forced.
Yeah. Do you want to lead the swing? You want to take the first swing this week?
Absolutely. Aaron, let's cast ourselves into the jungle.
Oh, man.
And now we're dead instantly because we have no survival skills.
I like coconut,
But
but I don't know how to get in there.
Also, we're...
Monkeys are cool.
Yeah, they are. But we're going to look at Tarzan for the BBC Micro.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
I was so happy you picked this.
Now, Aaron, let me tell you something. As you mentioned, Tarzan available on a million different systems, right?
Yeah.
Well, when you're trying to do research for one Tarzan game that's pretty obscure,
Yeah.
you run into some hurdles. And it's called looking up information for the game you thought was correct but wasn't. I eventually found a small tidbit.
Yeah.
This is from Algeta Software, released in 1984. Comes in two varieties. Some places called this Tarzan, some places called this Tarzan Boy.
Remember that song?
That's great, Aaron.
Oh,
and I believe that Tarzan Boy was part of the Super Fun Pack.
Of course.
When they did their compilation tape game.
I see. So was it released by itself and then part of a compilation?
It was by itself in the beginning.
All
yes.
right, I got it.
I did somehow manage to find a magazine review of this game.
Yeah.
And, man, I love 1980s magazine reviews.
Yeah.
because you can instantly tell this man had never played the game.
What did he say?
He talks about how you can tell he watched the demo because
Yeah.
he commented on the demo through 3/4 of his article.
Yeah.
About how the demo shows you all the stages that you will eventually traverse.
No, that's not true.
And then he says, while Tarzan can fall from a great height, too great of a height, and you'll damage Tarzan. And if you land on an enemy, you'll die. Only half of that is true.
Yeah.
There is no damage in this game. It's you live or you die.
Yes.
So, a paid review, as most were in the day.
What do you think? No, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Do you think that I'll dispute this?
Okay.
I doubt he just did. I figure he just was too busy.
Okay, I will accept that.
Because I can't imagine the people from whatever the place you said this was made at rolling up into the money bank. Yeah, Al Dente Games.
No.
And with a money sack for this guy for the BBC market. I'm just not buying it.
Well, John Rivas put this game together, and I think he did a pretty good job of putting a game together that was fun and challenging for the BBC Micro. And something he did a little self-gratification in the game startup screens where he says, keep a handkerchief close by because the graphics are just that beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like, it is the official Smithers. Do we really have to keep selling them? They've already bought their tickets.
You got to.
So, what is Tarzan for the BBC Micro? This is
it's madness.
This is a 4-screen action platformer that has you in control of Tarzan. You have 3 lives to traverse these 4 screens and save Jane at the end. So it does have Jane in it.
Follows the storyline precisely.
Yes, especially with all the floating eyeballs and chattering teeth.
It's amazing how many times that turned up in Edgar Rice Burroughs novels.
This game does have some spectacular graphics, in my opinion. It is a single screen per level, 4 screens, and has a lot of precise platforming, challenging based on how fast the platforms move and how really geniusly placed the enemies are. They always are in your way, and it makes you feel endless amounts of stress. The game controls really well, in my opinion, and I think is for the most part a fair game. It's certainly not without glitches. In fact, I fired it up one time. I played this multiple times during the week, multiple sessions. So it's not like I just sat down and played it for a long time in one session.
You have to come back if you walk away in anger.
Well, we'll get to that. But there was one session where I fired it up, and it wouldn't let me walk onto some of the blue platforms. And by blue platforms, I mean in the level they have elevation changes of, well, I think it's supposed to be water or possibly just lifts.
Water? Like tons of water spouts?
I believe that's what they're going for. But throughout the levels, to change great heights, they have water spouts that you have to jump on and jump off to different platforms. And for some reason, one of the times I loaded up the game, it simply would not let me get on one of the platforms. It was the weirdest thing I experienced. Although after I completely reset the emulation, it worked fine.
Yeah.
So who knows what happened there? But there's also other glitches. You will fall through platforms sometimes. Sometimes it is intended. They have a clever setup to where the platforms that you are standing on that are moving up and down, when they move down all the way, it's actually like there's no platform there.
Yeah.
So you have to jump to stay kind of on the platform. Those are intended, but there were other times where I just clipped through a platform. So the game's certainly not without its glitches, but I'll have to say, I did not get all the way through this. I know Pachaco from our Discord has video proof of getting through all 4 levels, although he admits he did use save states. So it is totally possible to get through them. It's not like it's so bugged out that you actually physically can't get through them. But it is a very, very challenging game. Aaron, how did you do on this difficulty-wise?
You know, when you just start this game and just take a step back and look at it,
yeah,
it looks like sheer madness. There's
I
crazy
think
crap going on everywhere.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
It looks like that it's an impossible task. That Tarzan just turn around and find another Jane, or find a strategically shaved ape to hook up with.
Or a third dimension where he could just bypass all of these obstacles.
Well, I mean, that's more like Buck Rogers than Tarzan. So, with all that said, I love these kind of games. And so I was all in when I started. I was like, okay, now we're in business. This is in my wheelhouse. It's a difficult game. It's a very difficult game.
Yes.
I was only able to get to the second level of this game. And I will say, I love the game. Okay. Because, like I said, I like games like this. It's bonkers. It reminds me, again, I always compare stuff to stuff like Jet Set Willy or Manic Miner. This is not that hard.
No.
This is more a fair and less ludicrous game as those.
Yeah, this is like a 7 or an 8, not a 10.
Right. It's still super hard, but I mean, when you play this, you think to yourself, I think I can do it.
Yes.
And that's the appeal of it. The control, you mentioned the control was being precise. I disagree with that. Now, I think the controls are consistent. I will give you that. But
to me, that's precise.
No, I don't think they're precise because when you want to get on one of the water spouts, you can't be directly beside the water spout. You have to give yourself a little space. When you want to jump, you can't be directly beside the thing you want to jump. You have to give yourself a tiny little bit of space. And that little bit of space increases the difficulty of the game quite a bit.
It does.
It's something you got to get used to, and you'll never fully get used, at least I didn't, because this game is hard enough to where you're making split-second decisions, and when you're making a split-second decision, you forget about that. The positioning of the enemies in this is tight. They knew what they were doing. They knew where to put stuff. There are additional ways to get killed. You could jump on enemies. You could get stuff thrown at you by enemies. You could also just get mushed by the water spout.
Yep.
It's another thing you can do. So there are plenty of ways to get Tarzan killed. Clearly, the Edgar Rice Burroughs estate was not involved in this game. We'll talk about that later because Tarzan's getting creamed left and right in this game. But I like the game. I just like I like these sorts of games. And there's something about the 8-bit computer that when they're playing these sorts of games, and it's never been repeated in modern times, ever. And when they port stuff to 16-bit, they lose this magic. I don't know what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's that Jumpman or Jet Set with the appeal. It's the graphics. Like, you're in the right mindset to play a game like this on the BBC. It's perfect BBC game.
Yeah.
It's just why we like remember when Josh Malone had the BBC Master down at Beaufort a couple years ago? How much we all swooned over that? These sorts of games are one of the reasons why.
Yes.
They've got them. The Spectrum's got some games like this, but not as colorful. This is a beautiful, it's a beautiful 8-bit thing. It's not like you're gonna want to have to say pose for a painting, but it's just it's a marvel to look at.
It's colorful, it's active,
yeah,
and there's details that aren't game related that you want to look at. For example, although this really doesn't make sense for a jungle, there's fruit hanging in the tree.
Yeah.
But it's there.
There's fruit in the jungle.
Well,
bananas and coconuts are fruit.
Well, these appear to be like red cherries.
Are coconuts nuts? I never thought about it.
Anyway, no, they're not.
Give me a comment below.
That's the worst engagement call I've ever had.
People say that, and then they're full of crap. I really don't know. I need help from the commenters, please.
Anyway, and on the other levels, it have flowing water and have the log as the platforms that you have to jump on.
Yeah.
It has springs. It has switches in later levels. Jane is a real other figure.
Yeah, she's in there jumping around.
That you rescue at the end of stage 4. I really think they went the extra mile for this game, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
This sold as a budget title back in the day.
Really? A budget title?
Yeah. From what I could find, it was a budget title. You can get it now if you have the hankering to do a little bit of Tarzaning on your BBC Micro. You can get the Fistful of Fun compilation for about $21 US. I didn't find any micros, just Tarzan. Let me see if any has popped up in the last few hours here.
I will say, while you're screwing around, I like the diversity of these levels. I mean, they are completely different. It's funny, the first level looks way more bonkers than the other three levels, but they're all like I said, I only got the second. But looking at the third and fourth, I was like, man, these look really cool. Just a lot. Someone put a lot of thought into setting these things up.
I want to say the level design on this is really good.
Yeah, it's got that appeal, like I said, that one more go appeal.
Yes.
And the thing is, you're gonna die a lot. In fact, you're gonna die at places you're good at because you're in a hurry.
Yes.
But this is the kind of game where you're going to work. It's just like, again, this is a lot like Manic Miner. Again, you're gonna play this enough and get to the level enough times to where by the end of the first level, where you're getting past it consistently, you'll be good at the first level. You'll know the tricks. You'll still get clipped occasionally.
Yes.
I like games like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the level and design on this was really well done. It keeps you moving. For the times when you do get a second to breathe on a safe platform, it's actually appreciated rather than just like, oh my God, why is this space empty?
Yeah, plus the timer doesn't allow you to not go fast.
Well,
that thing sucks. That really makes you have to go quick.
And the timer is related to score, so you could play this game for score if you were some kind of masochist. But yeah, overall, I think this was a fun game. I'm glad I played it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be going back to it. I don't
really?
Think
Why?
Yeah, I don't think it's that good of a game.
Oh, I thought it was. I'm going to be playing this one.
Oh, you think so?
This
really?
made me want to do a BBC stream. That's how much I liked it. I was like, man, I like the BBC Micro, and this one I was like, man, I have to play more BBC, and I got to get more of this in my life.
Well, I mean, I appreciated the game. I don't know if I appreciated it on that level.
I'm surprised because I mean, I like these sorts of games. I guess they're not necessarily your bag. You don't like nothing.
No, I enjoy these types of games definitely. I can just, if I'm going to spend time playing a game, I don't think this is going to be the one.
We did get a review for Tarzan, the brand, if you're interested. Our good buddy Pajako chimed in. Tarzan, a.k.a. Tarzan Boy. I-E-I-E-I-E-I-E-I.
Well, yeah.
He begins.
That's pretty much how you have to start out the review.
Is this the sound you'll make playing the game? As a kid, I played this quite a lot. I could never get off the first level, and yet I kept coming back to it, so I was expecting much the same, but I found the first level is surprisingly easy.
It gets there.
I wouldn't say it was that. I would not say that. Pajaka continues. Maybe this game isn't as hard as I remember it. No, it's hard. Very hard. As the game progresses, your movement and timing need to be pinpoint accurate or you will just die. Level 4, the final level, is hard with a capital F. You need the reflexes of a machine, and spoiler alert, you do not, you have to do the level 4 twice. Oh, that is brutal. Overall, Tarzan is bright and colorful. It plays well. Sadly, sound is a bit sparse, but it works for its time. My only pet peeve is the water elevators. Often you are literally treading water while waiting for them to line up to attempt to jump, which can be a chore. If you want to tame this beast, you'll need to stick around for a lot of practice. It's not impossible. I use save states, and I did get there. Oh, and I need a new swear jar because this one's full. It's a tough game, but I've played a lot worse, and I don't want to go back, and I do want to go back, I should say, and kick this game's ass properly, so that says a lot. 7 out of 10. Revised from 8, as I discovered some bugs while playing. P.S. There's a massive shortcut on level 2, and it's pretty easy to pull off if you are quick from the start. I didn't find it. I can tell you that right now.
There you go.
Whatever the shortcut was. So thank you, Pajaka, for chiming in on that one. I thought that game, like I said, with the little control hiccup aside, I thought that game was a real winner. This is one of the reasons why I love ARG, because I love finding games like that and playing them. I can't help it. I don't know if it's because maybe this is my nostalgia. These kind of games.
Sure.
It must be what it is.
Now, Aaron, I brought Tarzan to the table on this Tarzan 8-bit adventure.
Yeah.
What did you bring to the table?
Well, what I brought to the table was actually hand delivered to me from a listener. So once again, my old buddy Happy Cody was like, "Listen, you should check this out," and so I did, and he was right. So what I bring to the table is Tarzan, straight up Tarzan, 1983 for the Atari 2600/VCS. Now, we're going to get into this properly before we get into the game itself, because this game has quite
you've got a little bit of history to go through.
This was a Coleco product that was produced for the Atari by James Wickstead Design Associates, JWDA. Effectively, this was a ColecoVision game that was ported to the Atari 2600.
Which is not usually the way it goes.
And so, well, no, it does happen. Coleco found quite a bit of success with their licenses. And I'll give you an example. Was the Smurf was one that they ported over. Donkey Kong. Coleco had a bunch of Atari games. And JWDA, the James Wickstead Design Associates, they actually played a part in quite a few of these. Get this, their output for the 2600, they did a lot of ports, including they ported over Montezuma's Revenge, Star Wars Death Star Battles, the ever popular Name This Game, if you ever saw that one, Squeeze Box, Cubert's Cubes, Egomania, Gopher, Smurf, Sneak a Peek, and Space Jockey, which was their early works. That's another pretty famous one. Mousetrap and Frogger, they ported all those to the Atari. The people that worked on this game were Henry Will the fourth, who was famous for a lot of the games I just mentioned. He did Smurf Rescue and Mousetrap and Gopher, among others. Also working on this was Sylvia Day, who worked on pretty much the same games I mentioned previously, and with the addition of Farmer, Gopher. They both did a lot of stuff on the Atari. So, what's the scoop on this game? This game was announced in 1983 as a ColecoVision release, and then it was announced as a 2600 port later on. And they ran late on it. Now, this was to coincide with the Tarzan, I think it was the Tarzan Legend of Greyhawk, or what was that? Tarzan Legend of Greystroke. Legend of Greystroke, that movie. This was going to be in line with that. Sorry, did you remember that movie? I doubt it. Anyway, so they put JWDA on the case supporting this game. Now, when you're coming over from the ColecoVision was good at making platform games.
Yes.
It was an advanced system because in '83 the VCS, the Atari 2600, was getting long in the tooth. It'd been around for a good while already, and so they put these guys to work on this game. So when the Atari 2600 first came out, you were getting 4 kilobyte cartridges. Okay, eventually you would get slightly larger cartridge sizes, 8, 12. This is a 16 kilobit cartridge, a huge cartridge for the era. So when they went to work on this, it didn't start out that big, but they got permission to make it a little bigger, and then ultimately that's how big it became. So get this, the Brent. Tarzan was designed by a principal narrative designer, Lawrence Schick, who went on to be the future he was designer of Tarzan. He went on to be the principal narrative designer of Baldur's Gate 3. So think about that for a minute. That's a long drive.
Pretty good.
From there. So anyway, they had the whole crew over there working on this thing. Now, of course, when you work on a Tarzan game, you've got to deal with his estate, Edgar Rice Burroughs. We mentioned it earlier. Edgar Rice Burroughs' estate's known for being a little uppity. They're the ones that shut down Jungle King. They don't like it when you screw with their stuff.
They do not.
And so they only had one rule when this game was being designed, and the rule was they didn't care what happened to Tarzan, but he could not die. There was no death in the game for Tarzan, and so they had to use time limits to get around that.
And when you get injured, you lose time. Yeah.
Right. Henry Will was the lead programmer on this, who'd worked on Smurfs, which that's one of my all-time favorite games. I wasn't terribly surprised by that. So Tarzan, they pushed through. They worked on it hard. They were building this sort of like their answer to Pitfall, and eventually they put together a final build, and it was good to go. They were like, okay, we're ready, and they delivered this thing to Coleco around April 30th of 1984. Okay. It had, it was robust. Everyone seemed to like it, and everyone was excited about its release. I thought it would do real well because it looked good.
Yeah.
So when the Winter CES 1985 show rolled around, Coleco had their booth, and they didn't show the game. And so the whole team was disappointed. And so what happened was, it's funny, we talked this on another show. In July 1984, Warner Communications spun Atari's consumer business off and sold it to Jack Tramiel. He's back. We can't do a show without Jack Tramiel coming in.
He's everywhere.
And so he wasn't interested in really, at this point, the 2600 was falling over. Now, Jack Tramiel still made more, of course, made reprints, but no one was making things because, yes, the infamous video game crash of North America was beginning. And Parker Brothers, Activision, Sega, they all hung around until the end of '84, and then they were done. Now, keep in mind, Coleco was the ones behind this game. They were the ones that were producing the game. They had the game developed for them, but they were in big trouble. Why, you might ask? Well, in the fall of '83, they introduced the Atom.
Ooh.
And so the Coleco dropped support for the Atom in January of '85 after reporting losses of $140 million in 1984 because the computer. If you're not familiar with the Coleco Atom, you can look up one of our previous shows where we go into the rise and fall. But the Atom was wrought with problems.
It was more of a fall and then fall farther.
Yeah, I've got an Atom in there. I mean, they're a handsome machine, but man, they're goofy. I mean, that's a whole other show. So anyway, Coleco was in such bad shape that it only released a game or two more. It released Mousetrap, and then they were done releasing stuff for the Atari. And this is so that's effectively what happened to this game. It didn't get released after it was done. Coleco did release the Coleco version of Tarzan, which did real well. And if you haven't seen it, it's a good-looking game too. And then JWDA, they pretty much laid off their staff. They left the video game market around '85, and they continued to work on products like the Etch-a-Sketch Animator and the Pixel 2000 for a Fisher Price. So they were back in the toy game. So, with all that said, where did this game come from? It was considered lost, but in 2022, a fellow made a purchase of these ColecoVision cassette or cartridges, but that were labeled Tarzan, but they were actually the Atari version that were on these. I guess they were like prototypes. They bought two of them. They were, I don't know what they cost. They were exactly the same build, and so using those two cartridges, they were able to dump the ROM, and so that's how the game exists today. It hasn't been out that long since this happened, so.
Yeah, I think it was like 2020, wasn't it?
It's a real wacky deal. So that's the story of this game. This was a non-release prototype of Tarzan. So let's get to the game proper. We went over the principles here, so let's just talk about the game. The flavor text says, "Journey to the heart of darkest Africa on an exciting adventure with Tarzan. Cruel hunters and the beastmen of Opar have abducted Tarzan's tribe of great apes and imprisoned them in cages throughout the jungle. Race against time as you try to save the great apes from the captivity in zoos." So they're trying to take these guys. I don't know what's going on with the beastmen of Opar, but they've turned against their own people there. And so you play Tarzan as you try to free these apes. That's the game. How to describe this game? It's a lush game in a lot of ways, but in some ways it's not. If you've played the ColecoVision version of this game, It's similar, but the ColecoVision version is more graphically pleasing. Tarzan looks better. There's more background, but they still plugged a lot of stuff into the 2600 version. Tarzan can run up, down, left, right. You've got full movement on pretty much every screen. And as you run through the jungle, in the background occasionally you will see trees that you can scale. And then sometimes you see swinging vines, a.k.a. jungle hunts, that you can actually jump on and swing across stuff. Much like Pitfall, you'll occasionally come to an area of water. There's a crocodile in the water. And don't think he won't bite you. This guy sucks. His name is Gimia. All these guys have names. Gimia, the killer crocodile, and he'll bite you. So if you get to a part of the level that's just water, do not get in the water because this guy will chew you up. And every time you get hit, it takes time away from Tarzan's ability to finish before the timer runs out. Your best bet is to jump off of a tree, jump to a vine, jump to the middle tree, jump on. It took me a while to get this down.
Yeah.
But eventually you get it. You'll also occasionally run into like a big area where there'll be a guy across the screen holding a rifle. These are the jerk hunters, like the poachers. And don't think for a minute they won't attack you because they will. They'll shoot you. The funny thing about this game is Tarzan has the full bottom of the screen to move around in. So you can just move. And every time Tarzan moves down, the hunter will have to move down to get him in range. So you can pretty much do that back and forth, a little do-si-do. And then when you walk up to the hunter, you can even walk behind him, which is the best bit. And the hunter can't turn around.
Yeah.
And so you get behind him, and if you don't move, if you don't touch a direction or a joystick and hit the button, Tarzan just punches him in the back. Whap! Which is pretty fun. Eventually, as you go through the jungle, you're going to come to an area with a canopy of trees and a cage right in the middle of the upper part of the tree and a hunter. This is the first ape you've got to rescue. You've got to climb up the tree and punch the cage, and then the ape escapes while the hunter's shooting you. I don't know how you did it, but I would go over and just punch the hunter and go up the tree. But you can even do it without doing that if you want to.
Yeah, I didn't. I just went out and saved them.
You'll come to another special area where you'll see, sometimes you're going to find a snake that will jump out of the woods and get you. None of this stuff kills you, but it's costs you time. There's also this wild man that you have to occasionally fight. Eventually, you'll come to another set of 3 cages, and you've got to go over those and free all your guys. Once you get past that in the next screen, then you start the scaling portion of the game. Scale where Tarzan climbs up the side of this mountain. It's pretty good. Boulders are coming down there, ledges, you have to hide under them. And so that's pretty fun. They did a good job with the scaling. This is a whole different level than the other ones. I mean, it doesn't look the same. It's completely different.
Yeah.
And then once you scale a couple times, eventually you're going to get to the, I guess you would call it the temple level or the mount level, where you have to kind of go up like Donkey Kong style to the top of this thing. And it's a separate level too. And once you go through all this stuff, if you get there before the timer runs out, you can win the game. It's that simple. There are 4 difficulties. There are 4 difficulty levels, and each one will make the game a little bit longer and a little bit harder. You also have a score, as was the style of the time. And I will say, for a game on the 2600, you've got a lot of game here, a lot of variant gameplay styles. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, I'm going to rehash some of the things you said just because I don't think you conveyed the way it works very well.
Thank you.
There are basically 3 or 4 scenes that you will see a lot. You're always working left to right or down to up. There's a scene where the river with the crocodile and the vines just swing across. You see that a lot. The one where you've got the renegade big guy. You'll see that a couple times. A scene with a hunter and a scene with a snake. Those, you can consider those like your common levels.
Oh, the renegade bad guy is Bolgani the gorilla, just in case you're wondering.
Sure.
Well, that's his name.
So, consider those your common screens. And you're going to see each of those 3 or 4 times as you play. So, you're working left to right. You're going to run into a lot of those common scenes. And then there are also special scenes where you've got to free a gorilla from the single cage in the middle, free 2 gorillas from 2 hanging cages, a pyramid fight where you've got to battle up a pyramid to free a bunch of cages, the scaling the mountain scene, and then the final boss battle has you trying to shut down the machinery that is hauling the gorillas to the zoo.
Yeah.
So those are your 5 special stages.
The lowering the cage portion of the program, yeah.
So if you've got your common stages and you've got those other stages, 5 stages mixed in, that makes for like 25 or 30 different screens that you will traverse to get to the end of the game.
Yeah, I'd say it's about right. It's a goodly amount.
And that's makes for a fun adventure. There are definitely scenes that, are when they pop up, they're special. They feel special because you only see them once. The scene where you have to jump over the river and with the alligator / crocodile, whichever it might be, that scene kind of sucks because it takes so much time. And I don't mean like you lose a lot of time in game. It just takes a long time to scale the tree and then get across.
Plus, there's a high possibility of failure on that.
Yes,
thing.
yeah.
That's the hardest scene for me.
That is the hardest scene.
Yeah.
And if you fall in the river, 4 times out of 5, you will get eaten. And when you get eaten, it slows you down even more. Anytime you fall from a high height, if you hit the ground or if you hit inside the river or whatever else, it stuns Tarzan, and he will stay in the stun animation for 4 or 5 seconds.
He's kind of kneeled, like he's like, oh, he's beat down.
But that's the game.
Yeah,
that's the game. I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah,
I think for a 2600 game, this is a huge adventure feel.
Yeah.
I do not believe it's better than Pitfall. I think Pitfall just had more.
I think it's better than Pitfall. I don't think it's as good as Pitfall 2. That's my opinion. Because Pitfall this has an ending, a narrative. It's got multiple screens where you don't do the same thing. I mean, yes. I like that.
It is a little bit strange when you free the gorillas. I thought I was freeing some kind of shadow beast.
Yeah.
Because a gray gorilla type figure just shoots off the screen at lightning speed. So that's a little jarring the first time you do it.
And the first cage is tough to see.
Yes.
I went through that level. And the thing is, it won't let you leave. And I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong. It's because you have to go up and free that gorilla. You can't leave until he's free.
On the pyramid stage, you can't go up the stairs until you free them. And they just look like doors in that particular stage.
Yeah.
Which is, it kind of sucks because I tried to keep walking up the stairs and couldn't do it. And then whenever the door hit a button, the shadow beast escaped. And then you free the other shadow beast. And then it automatically runs you up the stairs.
Yeah.
But those small little things aside, this was a wonderful little adventure game. I did complete this one, unlike the one on the BBC Micro.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily difficult. Did you get all the way through this?
Yes. Well, I got through it a couple times. It was not. I was not good at this game, to be honest with you. And what killed it, this game is not what I mean on the normal level. It's not that tough, except for the alligator. And the problem I had for the longest time, I didn't know you could jump on the tree between the 2 vines. So I kept trying to go from vine to vine, and you can't. And then you've got to deal with the alligator. And whenever he bites you, you see that time going away, and he'll bite you over and over and over and over.
He will chain hit you, yeah.
Like, part of the pitch of this game is like Tarzan can swim. Well, you never get a chance to hardly swim. You just instantly get. It's all you can do is hopefully to get out of the water. So if you can get past the water in this, you're fine. You won't any trouble.
And although you do run up and down the screen in the foreground and into the background, you don't really run. You have different layers of the foreground and the background that you can up and down to, kind of like the Fatal Fury, that kind of 2-screen gimmick.
It works though.
Yes,
it gives you a weird sense of freedom that you wouldn't expect.
Yes, especially from a 2600 game.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
It's something that you can pick up I beat it the first time I played it.
Really?
Yeah.
Not me. No, it took me many
and then
tries.
I went and I looked through the instruction booklets because at this time I still didn't understand that I was freeing gorillas.
Yeah.
I honestly thought I was freeing some kind of spirit.
Yeah.
And I was very confused because there was no Jane at the end.
Yeah.
There is no Jane to save. It's just about rescuing the gorillas and shutting down the machinery. But I still had a lot of fun doing it. It's beeps and boops sound effect.
Yeah. I don't know. The ending, there's a cool song.
There is.
With bongos. It sounds nice.
Yep.
It's real good.
Yep. And it looks good.
Yeah.
It looks really, really good. If you hadn't told me this was for a 2600, I would never think this was for the 2600. It's definitely high enough graphics that doesn't feel 2600-y.
There's too much content for a 2600 game.
Yes.
I mean, can you name another 2600 game off the top of your head that has this many variant? If you think about it,
Well, Pitfall was way up there.
bro, I mean, but Pitfall and Pitfall 2 they were the same sort of thing with different graphics. I mean, this has totally variant games.
Yes.
You can even say like the alligator's different from the tree level.
From the tree,
it's radically
from the snakes.
different.
Yeah.
You know, and then once you go up the walls, the machinery where you're doing that thing with the chain, and then the temple, it's all different stuff. It's excellent stuff.
Yeah, it seriously is.
I really enjoyed
it's really
this one.
good.
And this is I have to say, this is one that came out of nowhere for me. We did get a review of this. Of course, you can't buy this on eBay.
Yeah,
yada yada. I'm sure somebody over there at Atari just duping carts or whatever. Pajako again chimed in. A technically impressive and good game for its time. Tarzan would have probably sold well if the market hadn't tanked in the U.S. in '83. There's a dash of Pitfall, but Tarzan's its own unique game. Took me a few plays to realize you could effectively move on 3 or more planes as well as climb the trees and swing on the ropes and punch things. If I'm honest, the BCS game lacks a little polish here and there. I got stuck in a few irritating hit loops, especially the water, and personally found the river crossing bits the most clunky, and the level distribution felt a little too random at times. The Aztec Challenge hill climb was a chore, too many screens and too easy to get taken out near the top with no time to react. But I made it to the end of the game a couple of times, and the music for a 2600 game is catchy. It's still rattling around in my brain. I briefly tried the ColecoVision version, and while it sounded better, I preferred the gameplay of the VCS version. You definitely need to read the manual or watch a video playthrough as the goals aren't always clear. But that is a common thing for games of this time. Overall, really solid games of VCS. Not quite as deep as Pitfall, but good in its own right. 8 out of 10. And I should mention before we close up shop on this one, this shows you how close this game was to release. There's a fully ready-to-go manual. They've got the full PDF of the Atari 2600 manual. So, I mean,
I thought that was for the Coleco.
No, it's fully for the 2600.
Nice.
It's good to go, and it wasn't made recently. It was made back then. They had a copy of the manual, so that shows you how close to release this game was. It's a shame it didn't get released, but, I mean, there were probably 100 games that got left on the shelf when the big crash happened over here. And again, we've talked about it in the past briefly, but that crash was nasty. It was fun for a little while because you got so many cheap games, but I mean, then it was almost like they just said, "Listen, video games are done.
Yeah,
we're gonna move on to whatever the next thing is."
Couple years, it was grim.
Hey, I like both these Tarzan games though this week. The Brent. I think we got 2 big winners this week.
Yeah,
I'm pretty happy with that. That didn't happen that often. It's not often you get a winner, brother.
You know what also makes me happy, Aaron?
I don't.
The wheel.
Oh, I should have known.
Now, Aaron, you seeded the wheel for us this week. What did you put on there?
This week, for the Retro Rewind piece, I put the FM Towns Marty.
Boo.
We're going back to it. I know you don't want that one.
We ain't spinning that.
And then for our other piece, it's from Buck Owens. Games needing special controllers.
Well, that could be fun.
Special control. Yeah, if we got the controllers.
That could be fun.
Otherwise, we're boned.
I see a lot of
I'm playing Donkey Kong.
Action Max in our future.
I see Rock Band in my future. Here we go. Oh, man, we need to bring the action back to Max. Back. That was a great game system. Here we go. All right. The winner of the week. Games with famous people.
Tarzan's a famous
From
person.
John Bodokar Shaw.
I'm going to choose the Atari 2600 version of Tarzan.
You know, we played something a while back that I can't remember. It was something along the same lines as Games of Fate. So this should be a lot of fun. So these are going to be games that have a famous person in it. It should be a lot of fun.
Now, Aaron, I have a question for you.
All right.
Does the famous person have to have actually existed?
Yeah, it has to be an actual person. That's like a human that walked the planet.
Okay.
It has to be a famous person. We might as well make it a famous person that's still alive. Let's challenge ourselves. Yeah, let's challenge ourselves.
Okay.
Let's make it more fun. So a famous person that's still alive.
So not a character. It has to be an actual person.
It has to be a legitimate, actual person.
That
Unlike yourself.
That represents themselves in the game.
Yes, that's exactly right.
My goodness.
So that takes ARG to a close, and we know we'll be back on November 9th with famous people in their own games, basically. That should be a lot of fun. As you know, Brent, that retro rotation keeps on spinning, brother. And next week, we're back, ironically, to Atari Unlimited. And I looked at the voting ahead of time. If you're interested in knowing what we're going to be getting into, do you want to know?
Yeah. Go ahead and let us know.
It looks like it's going to be, bam, the Atari 2600. So right on cue. We're double dipping in the 2600. That'll be next week, October 19th, the Atari 2600. Just to round out a few dates, to end the month, October 26th, we're going to be doing the Coco Show. We're going to be covering a game called Spooks. They're scary. And then November 2nd, Art Sinclair, we'll be looking at Invasion of the Zombie Monsters. Wow. So we've got a full lineup. You've got Atari Unlimited, the Coco Show, Art Sinclair, and another ARG coming up next 4 weeks. I'm excited about it.
Nice.
Should be a lot of fun. Brent, do you have anything else you want to bring forth and display for people?
Nope.
No, I don't blame you. So, that's all we got this week. Have a good week. And make sure you dry clean the old leopard leotard. Those things get a little ripe.
We got it going. With a spin of the wheel, we'll uncover our fate and stream it to you all in one take. We tend to be loud and we fight quite a bit, but it's an unscripted show, so you get what you get if we stopped it right now.